Oh my God, it's Jack. It's Jack Levin.
Where?
Dude, he came in here with Simple. What do you guys got going on?
Bro, what do you expect? We're talking about ET and Cleo.
We did bring up Cleo that Jack came in.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
What's up, Jack? How we doing, man?
Hey, so first I want to describe my situation. I'm in a hot jacuzzi with my 7-year-old. So he's listening to the conversation. So I would ask, please be mindful and keep it PG while I'm here with you guys. But yeah, things are good.
Of course, we'll keep it PG. Trying to bring Simple. Oh,
So,
Coach.
Jack, we fixed the bugs or what?
So we spent about a week hammering at the chain, and it's actually a very interesting bug, and I wanted to share with you guys what we found. So the Phantom code base, those guys did amazing job over like the last 5 years as they were developing this code base, and it works really well. um, Unfortunately, for our scale, for the Zenian scale, we need to work on it and make it and massage it into basically having an ability to sustain all of the validators that we have gotten connected. So Phantom has worked for many years with just 50 validators because their staking ratio was like really really high. You needed to stake 500,000 FTM, which was, I think, like between $200,000 and $500,000 during the bull cycle. So they don't have that many nodes, and therefore they're not really suffering from this kind of like this scalability problem. And what we observed, that the chain has gotten over 400 validators in just about 2 weeks. And what really made the difference is that there's actually a lot of Asian communities that are participating with Zen, and they reached out and they're like, "Hey, Jack, can you airdrop 20 or 50 million XN?" It was the crypto cell group, and they quickly got like another 200 validators online in rapid order, and you can probably see them on the validator page. It's called Zen China with like these golden symbol. And so what we started to observe is that as those validators came aboard, whenever the validators disconnect, the chain would slow down. And the reason why it slows down is because the chain has a memory structure that keeps the validators' records, and it doesn't really keep good track whether you're offline, online, or just being slow. And what we need to do is we need to improve that piece of code to actually to scale to the thousands of nodes, because we believe we're going to be possibly at tens of thousands of nodes around the world, because we don't plan to make the uh, staking ceiling to be too high, because we want everybody to join and to have the chain to be like really decentralized. And so we need to improve that. So that addresses the slowness, which we actually know what to do with it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna borrow a lot of concepts from Solana. And I've always been big fan of Solana's, perseverance and being an underdog. Even though I was dunking on them for being somewhat intellectually dishonest and like showing 4,000 transactions per second, where in reality it's only about 600, maybe 700, and 70% of those transactions actually fail. So the real number of transactions is actually really low. But anyway, nevertheless, they do have very interesting technology with a lot of interesting ideas that can actually help us to scale if we were to onboard hundreds of validators. So that kind of like that addresses the performance issue. Even though I would say that performance is still better uh, than Ethereum. But of course, we're not going to be satisfied with the Ethereum performance. We want to be like 1,000 times faster, maybe 500 times faster, but no less than those numbers. Because the problem is when your chain is slow, everybody competes to be included in the block, and the gas fees rise because the block inclusion is like an auction. Everybody wants to like get a piece of that NFT mint or a token mint, and they end up bidding up the gas price just because the chain is slow. And so we actually want to keep the gas prices relatively low, affordable, 1/10 of a cent if possible in dollars, and basically approach the cost of hardware and cost of operating the hardware when it comes to gas cost. The issue that actually brought the testnet down last weekend, or I think maybe it was Monday, I actually don't remember. What happened is that we were testing all of the crazy corner cases, like insane variations of staking and unstaking. And so what we had is we had about 300 validators online, with each one staking about 100,000 XN. So everybody were equal. Everybody were managing about 1/3%, and it worked pretty well. And then like our next test was to stake 300 million into 3 nodes only. So each node has like 100 million XN. And the reason we wanted to test that is because often the software exhibits bugs when you actually do something to it that's completely unexpected. And lo and behold, actually, we got the unexpected, or in other words, what we got is the staking worked fine. Like we were able to stake 300 million XN, and when we did the staking, what you imagine happened is because it was so much, the control of block production and what they call validator quorum, and quorum basically means that the minimum number of validators that can process transactions. So when we staked 300 million, the chain properly adjusted itself and gave those top 3 validators most of the blocks to produce, and not just block production, but also the decision making over which transaction is valid and which transaction is not valid. So that worked really well, the staking part. And then a day later, after testing a little more stuff, we just decided to unstake and see what happens. And when we unstaked 300 million, the total staked amount did go down, as it should, because, well, the money has disappeared, like so to speak, because it got unstaked. However, the formula that governs the minimum number of XN that's responsible for transaction and block formation actually never got adjusted. So there's a race condition, which is also called a deadlock, where one half of the formula does the right thing, the other half doesn't do the right thing, and the equation does not balance itself out. So what happens is when we took the 300 million XN out, the chain basically decided that all of the big guys are gone and there isn't enough nodes to actually to validate transactions anymore, and it went into a safe mode where no more blocks could be produced. And the funny thing is, once you enter that safe mode, you cannot actually exit it. And the reason why you cannot exit the safe mode is because it requires more staking afterwards. But because the chain does not produce any blocks, you cannot restake the amount that you just unstaked. So you unstake once, the chain shuts down, and then you have no way to restart it. So the only way for the chain to be restarted was to roll back before the unstaking action actually took place, which was few hundred blocks in the past. And so what we've done is we sliced the chain into 2 forks. One fork was, well, damaged because of that bug, that equation not being able to balance itself. And the other fork was actually just before the unstaking happened. And so now the chain is back up, the testnet's back up, with the validators back before the unstaking ever took place. So now we need to figure out how to fix that bug within that equation where the left side says, yes, you unstaked, but the right side that actually checks the quorum, meaning like, do we have the minimum number of nodes to produce the blocks? That part of equation does not get updated. And usually in the computer science, this is an easy problem to fix. It's just a race condition where those things need to happen atomically. And you guys probably are familiar with the atomic like swaps are, like one side and the other side happens at the same time. Well, what happens with the Phantom code, the way that the latest release, that sort of action is not atomic. Like in other words, the left side of the equation occurs, but the right one takes a little bit of time. And during that time, there is a difference between like, it's like 10 minutes or something. The chain actually fails to produce any blocks, and that's like it gets into this like race condition deadlock. And so that's what we have to fix. We're looking how to fix it properly. We also raised an issue with the Phantom team, and they're probably going to be looking at that as well, because obviously it is the code that most of their validators are running too. So they're affected by this bug, and we just need to figure out together how to fix it up. But I'm actually very happy that it happened, because like imagine you're not testing all the corner cases and your chain is live. It has like TVL of several $billion, and all of a sudden this happens, it goes down, and like this TVL is like, well, it's still there, but guess what? When the chain starts back up, it's gonna leave, because the TVL stakers or owners will lose confidence. And so it is absolutely vital to kick the tires right now and absolutely demolish and break the chain and find all the bugs, get those bugs fixed. So this is obviously a critical bug. A less critical bug is a performance bug that we will work on and also figure out how to do. But anyway, that's where we are. The chain is back up. The testnet's back up. People can stake on stake, trade. Well, not trade, but transfer at least works. So and the block explorer is also online. It's currently syncing. So anyway, that's the report for this week. But it was crazy week, because we were like, we would wake up at 7. I would wake up like at 5:30, maybe 6 a.m. I would get in front of a computer. We test all the cases. We finally got the version of the chain working yesterday, and then we ran it overnight to make sure it's stable. And today we got all of the validators back online.
What did you say? Their bug is our opportunity to fix what they. That was dope.
Yeah, is
Yeah, bro.
is Phantom like gonna pay you to fix their chain now? In this bug, because I feel like
So people ask me like, "Do you love this thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love it and I hate it at the same time." It's just annoying enough to me, like absolutely hate the problems and the issues that I have to fix. But also, it's like the gym. You go to the gym and you like when you're starting up, you hate it. But there's the saying, nobody ever regrets leaving the gym, right? It's like if you spend an hour kicking your ass, you never regret driving back home afterwards. So that's kind of like the feeling I have with this.
Can I ask a quick question about like the bug that you found amongst like Phantom? How does this correlate with X1? And why does like both blockchains kind of like talk to one another?
Hey guys, I need to reconnect because I'm losing connection. I'll be back.
Well, they use DAG network.
so it was
So
it was a fork of that.
So is it fork of Poly or fork of Phantom?
well, they forked the DAG. I don't know. I'm not
Phantom.
smart.
I think it's like Phantom's code.
Okay, sounds good.
So at least from what I've took away from what Jack was saying was just yeah, they found a bug because Phantom's not really testing that amount of validators, and yeah, it sounds like he's like fixing their chain for them
So
and like
not
improving upon ours, like by like forking it. I think that
yeah.
was the takeaway.
So it's not a fork of Polygon.
No.
No, that I
It,
think that's changed a little while back.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, this is new information for me. So that's it.
yeah, I think because the DAG technology is like just better for transferring like data packets.
Well, I understand that anecdote. Why that would be a smart pivot.
Hey guys, I'm back. Are you talking about Polygon versus Phantom?
No, I was just bringing our I honestly, like, I always thought X1 was going to be basically a fork of Polygon, and I didn't know when did the pivot of like forking Phantom happen?
So
Because
that
this
happened
is
actually last June or July when we launched Fastnet. So Fastnet was the version of the Phantom fork that's running Phantom code. And the decision was pretty simple. We have 12 different chains working with Zen, and Phantom was pretty much only one of the chains that did not have problems handling Zen. And so we figured if it can survive Zen, then it really should survive what we have been planned for, what we're planning for it. And Polygon actually, it was okay, but it was just like not as performant and not as scalable as Phantom speed and execution was. So we're on Phantom Fork right now.
okay. I agree. I agree on that point. I like very smart.
I have a question about the layer zero effect or how you're going to bring in all Zen and connect it to X1. Have you figured out what system you're going to use or protocol you're going to use to do that?
So obviously layer zero is like one of the better technologies out there, and I think we definitely will be working with them, and we are in contact with them today in a way of creating a decentralized bridge to get in and get out. In terms of onboarding people into X1, it's not going to be super complicated because we already have an idea, and obviously it's in the works to get everybody that burned Zen to transfer basically their burn records all the way to X1 and get the airdrops for XN. So basically, if you use Zen on any chain, if you gave it up for some other projects, that means you're a Zenian. That means you're a participant, and you will definitely get a community airdrop, which is basically free XN as you get into the chain. Same thing goes for NFT holders and like various other assets. We're obviously still finalizing how it's going to work technically and also economically. But this is going to be like not like an overnight thing. It's not like we're going to say tonight is the night. It is what it is. Like get in or you're going to miss it. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a process over time as Zen gets minted and burned, and there will be like various other methods to get into it. And obviously, you guys know by now that it's been a year since Zen launched. It's going to be 7 more years while the inflation is producing any Zen. And so during that time, the community will be able to transfer the burn action of Zen into X1 if they want to. Obviously, it has a lot of positive effects on the Zen ecosystem. Specifically, if Zen is burned on Ethereum, the supply gets smaller. People that don't have Zen don't have time to mint, don't want to wait a year. They'll have to buy it to get into the XN X1 blockchain, basically. So it's a win-win for everyone, and I feel like there will be options to get into the chain without really, I would say, paying anything, especially if you use Zen for a year. But of course, the newcomers, the new Zenians, they only have two options. They have to buy Zen and convert it to XN if they wanted to, or they will have to mint it and just wait for their mints to come and then convert the mints. Obviously, there's also an idea that was suggested by the community to take your ZenFTs and at the time of maturity choose not to mint, so not to spend the gas money to mint Zen from the ZenFTs, but actually convert that ZenFT, burn it, and receive XN on the X1 chain. So that's like another option. Like you can choose to get your Zen, or you can just choose to get XN, and you can do it on any chain.
To scale back on the conversation a little bit, you said that you spoke to the people at Layer Zero, and you said they're going to do a decentralized version of Layer Zero, and you're speaking to them about that.
Well, they claim it is decentralized now. However, some parts of their source code is actually closed source, and I don't like that, the fact that it's closed source, because like nobody can jump in and act as an independent third party for the bridge transfer. But they're saying that it's in the works to actually to get their relay service open sourced. And I think by the time, like within like maybe 3 or 4 months, they're gonna get that done. And I actually like looking in their technology. There isn't anything better than them in terms of costs and speed and security. The only thing that I don't like is the closed source part.
Because I remember talking. I remember you talking about it. It was closed source, like maybe 2-3 months back, and that it was more decentralized or closed source. I mean, more centralized and closed source back about 2-3 months ago. So now they're going to open it up, and now you're speaking to them about it. And I agree about the layer zero part, like from your for what you were talking about and saying that there's nothing better. Is there anything close to layer zero that you're thinking about, or you're like adamantly like stuck on and want layer zero?
So I'm not stuck on anything. And listen, guys, like when the chain is sufficiently decentralized and it has public interest and everybody kind of like owns a piece of it, anyone can come up with their own bridge. Like literally, there could be a team that launches the bridge solution the way that's like they want to do it, and like we really shouldn't be stopping them. So I simply like and prefer layer zero for something that I would advocate to be used. However, there are other solutions that are open source that people could launch, like Oracle services, and it's like I think uh, there's like a number of projects with open source that you can actually run the validators and have like this mini chain that does bridging. So totally reasonable to have multi-bridge solution into the chain.
Appreciate you, Jack.
Coach, shoot from the head.
Shoot from the head. I always got some questions. Jack, out of all the projects that I built on top of Zen that you know about, what has actually brought the best ROI to those individuals by
Like,
burning their Zen for projects?
well, I think just looking at the numbers, I believe DXN has burned the most, and it had the biggest pump. I think it went from
Well, no, like by the time the community actually burnt their Zen, to the ROI of that airdrop to said project that went and done their thing. What's the best project that you know of?
So I actually make it a point not to like separate the projects by merits. I think it's the community that needs to do that. I liked DBZen specifically because their code was very, very interesting, and they just happened to launch uh, during the spring months where like all of the coins were pumping, and they had this mega pump. I believe they got Zen burned.
Jack. That's not the question that I'm asking. What's actually been the best project
Coach, you're
that you
on one
could?
right now, man. I feel
I
like
I think he answered
I
that, Coach. I think he just clarified that he's not going to pick a project. He's
it's
not going to
no.
fuck.
honestly,
There's
I got a question in alignment with that though, and Coach,
okay.
maybe
Go ahead.
like with like the burn and everything, and I think a lot of people out there are maybe just and I don't know, maybe just sleeping on it. And Zen's obviously tickling to the all time low, which is kind of fun to see. You know, and I'm curious about these Apex. They're still out there. Is there going to be, I know that you guys have kicked around ideas just about allocation, everything like that. Have you guys kind of regrouped and thought about just Apex and if there's going to be potentially a little bit more allocation for Apex, just because that is like the closest, Zen product and like the first Zen burn.
Well, yeah, I think absolutely, because I mean Apex NFT was the most scarce asset out there, It was the most expensive one to get into with the amount of Zen that you needed to burn. So it will for sure 100% get a multiplier. I mean, like we already talked about it, and it kind of makes sense. Like something that is so rare, so difficult to get, and everybody wants it. And it was like the first class of NFTs that actually got all minted out. So 100%, like if you did do that, you will get an airdrop corresponding to that class of NFT, which will be higher than the rest of the NFTs out there.
Well, that's what's up. And then I guess in line with that too, like you were saying, like some people early on with Zen, like once the NFTs came out and got unicorns or whatever, they burned like, you know, the 10 billion and 10 billion, you know, around the start of Zen. I mean, it was definitely a hefty price tag. What's like the, you know, the weight of Zen when it's burned, is that going to be taken into account? Because, you know, 10 billion now is a lot different than 10 billion early on. You know what I mean?
Well, yes. I mean, like obviously, it has to be taken into account. It actually makes those NFTs more valuable because at the time you had an option to sell your Zen for ETH or whatever other cryptocurrency you're interested in, which is totally fine, or you get the Apex, which is basically kind of like starts the clock for your ownership. And so, yeah, I mean, like totally legit thing to conclude that um, the cost of Zen corresponding to the burn value should be, you know, corresponding to the XN airdrop appropriately. There's obviously a question of fairness because somebody will say, well, I was the first one to do it. It was like during the Zen pump. Like, how can you actually find the time and have the corresponding price done? We'll figure something out. I think we're definitely going to make it fair, or we want to make it fair. So,
Hey,
What if
but
you
hold
burn?
on, Cloud. Simple. You know what I'm like getting towards, right?
dude,
Well, yeah, you want to know where people's putting their time and energy, like as far as attention goes, and
I mean, like,
what type of action is coming out. And for my
listen. If you want to ask me a question, just like don't like dilly dally with long sentences. Just ask it straight up. Like, give me an example that you want to hear. So that
Okay, so example. So have you seen what PTGC has done to the Zen community? Whoever actually burnt their Zen for TG Zen, they got PTGC. How much ROI did they get from their investment of burning their Zen?
dude, if you ask me
Basically.
about the ROI and whether I tracked ROI of different Zen projects that other people build, I'm gonna say straight up, I'm not tracking it. I'm just way too busy building a blockchain. So I'm sorry, I don't have an answer.
Very good answer, coach. Very
Fuck
good.
yeah, though.
Yeah.
I got a question.
That's the like shit. Yeah, I mean, dude, Coach, I faded it, dude. I know Cloud tweeted out something too, just about the TG thing. Like you know, I think we had him on a week in review or whatever, and they were talking about it, and yeah, people participated. And bro, I mean, I've seen it. You guys are in outer space.
Is that the Greys, like the aliens, or like what is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, they're pumping over there.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look. I mean, like, but seriously, guys, from the moment I opened my eyes in the morning, all I was thinking about how to get the proper way to take care of the phantom situation with uh, that sort of a halt that the chain has experienced, and because it's not our bug, we actually feel good that we can contribute back to the open source community by fixing it, or at least researching it to the, getting to the bottom of it. But ultimately, the value comes from stability, and it was like 100% on my mind to get it properly resolved, or at least get to the bottom of why it's happening. And so, like, I was not like paying attention to anything. I think there was like some pork token that launched that like went to the moon. Like, I totally missed that.
Okay, like Jack, like I 100% get where you're coming from, and on like a building standpoint, in retrospect, there's no other mechanism when waking up in the morning that your thing that you're building needs to be the first priority. But I don't really get that this many times to actually talk to you in the past where we've actually had like I think we had a stream together and we had maybe like 1,200 people like viewing it type of stuff. So I understand your point of view and your thing. I was just wanted to show to like the audience in the room, like there are projects surrounding the whole ecosystem of itself that is actually bringing value to possibly ultimately like maybe we bring PTGC over to X1 and ultimately do the same kind
Bro,
of
bro,
GameFly type of
bro,
shit.
bro. Zen is the value, dog. Anything? I mean,
Well, I think I
Everything
would
else is just
no, guys. I mean, like Zen obviously is the building block, but without the community and without the projects that's building on top of it, uh, the value it's just not gonna be there. So I think getting people to build and be excited about building on top of Zen is absolute priority, and I would say like it's pretty much number one priority. Like we want to support communities and teams that are building amazing stuff. Like that
would
is
you say it would be better to build on like Zen on these different chains, like on Ethereum and all these different chains, or like kind of build for X1 because just like the developers having that 80% allocation from the transactions, if that's still like the ideology behind it. I mean, that's huge onboarding for anyone that's building something like substantial versus like having to go to Ethereum and all these other chains.
yeah,
Um,
it certainly is very attractive to just to say that hey, everybody needs to come to X1 chain because it is the best thing that's going to be out there for Zen. However, I do believe that there's a lot of TVL everywhere else, and the world is large, and we do want to have those chains supported. And like think about it this way: if somebody launches something amazing on Ethereum and has like billions of dollars of TVL in it, and it just pumps to the moon and it puts Zen even more into center of the map, people will pay attention. People will pay attention. They'll be thinking, okay, what is this Zen? Why is it there? Why is it in the top 5 tokens for a year on Ethereum? Why is it number one token on Polygon and number one token on Phantom? So, uh, so I would say that absolutely we want to be Omni supported across all the chains. So it's really important.
Let's go to the hands real quick. Let's go to the hands. Love one another. You got a great question for
And if,
Jack.
and if you troll, you're going down.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I
It's,
won't. I
it's
won't troll.
late.
I promise.
It's late on the East Coast. Let's get to the
First
point.
of all, I want to apologize, Jack, for calling you a punk ass bitch. I was just going through a rough time.
yeah, you're a punk. No.
But my question for Jack is, do you have like a target date for like the launch of X1?
So the target date is sometime in Q1, but I would say that you will know because obviously I'm very transparent on my X on my Twitter profile. I'm always giving people updates, and it's not like I'm saying here's a bunch of problems we're waiting to resolve them. I generally update all of the actions as we go along. And I would say that like one thing that I think everybody should realize that even at the time of the mainnet launch, where we integrate the proof of work and proof of stake and delegated proof of stake, and we get the burn records going, that is actually not very important date. Certainly, it's like good for the books, but in reality, there's so much time to get into the chain over the years. Nobody's gonna miss out. So it's not like everybody should like mark their calendar and have like to know that X1 is launching right then, and if you blink, you miss it. It's not gonna happen because it's part of the kind of like fair crypto philosophy, is that you have spent your time practicing first principles. It actually means that you get all the time in the world to to get in. It's not like a pump and dump, scheme that happens over a week and then it's over. Because we're building a long, sustainable ecosystem, or that's what the goal is for my team.
Hey, that's what's up, Jack. But can you unblock me so I can stay updated to
Wait,
to X1, please? I mean, you don't have to,
Yeah,
but that'd be great.
I'll unblock you.
Appreciate you.
web
Yeah,
web
sure.
eight.
Well, I still follow
Oh,
you with the puck token, but I'm trying to just
J-
stay away. Keep use my main account. So appreciate it.
Jack, you don't have to unblock him. Web eight, go ahead.
Hi, Jack. Just want to say I really appreciate your hard work. It's just nice to see you being consistently building, like no matter the ups and downs, just always being there and just doing your best. It's really appreciated. And also, you must be one of like the star devs on Phantom. I mean, last I checked, you were like #1 in the accrued fees, and now like you're funding like critical infrastructure checkpoints. So hopefully, you're building a nice relationship with Phantom. So I have two questions. One would be if you could please give an update on the OKX situation. And second is just I'm interested to find out more about the layer 2, like the embedded layer 2 for inscriptions, because I feel like that would be like a very important economic revenue stream for X1, and I don't think many chains have that. So, what is your overall view of inscriptions and how that would play into the X1 chain? Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of the OKX situation, obviously we're in the process of conflict resolution, I would say, and uh, I have a good feeling about it. I don't want to say too much because it can go either way. Uh, but I think the both parties have good representation in terms of what we want to do, and I have a good feeling that we're going to come to the resolution that satisfies everyone. So that's kind of like the status on the OKX, and I think it's going to be resolved sooner than later. In terms of the inscriptions, inscription market is is definitely very 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 exciting market, and certainly it's driving Bitcoin ecosystem to you know really this like new type of uh, market consensus among the fact that satoshis are no longer need to be hodled, and the coins can actually be traded for other digital assets, which is really 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 interesting. And we also saw the spread of inscriptions to every other chain, including Phantom and including Avalanche. I haven't seen that much action on Ethereum versus the other chains. I think inscriptions is like one of those things that also bring fairness to crypto. So we definitely have a lot of great ideas for X1 inscription service. Uh, there is a bunch of experiments that I have done where you can actually do this thing called compressed inscriptions, and the way it works, it takes technology from layer 2 ecosystem where you take a roll up, and the roll up is basically a data fingerprint of of many transactions that are grouped together that execute at once as a single mint. And so this is really exciting because currently on all of the EVM chains, inscriptions are done with one transaction per inscription. What we're planning to do is actually aggregate all of the inscription mints together and roll it up into this like kind of like a zero knowledge roll up and execute it as one set on X1, which leads to unprecedented minting speeds. And we're talking about like 80,000 mints per second. It's actually that fast. And it's you will have to spend very minimal gas, even cheaper than a transaction transfer, to actually to get those mints done. And so we feel like many EVM chains are actually like looking down at inscriptions. They're saying that it's polluting the chain. The chain is not working as it's advertised. Certainly, Bitcoin maxis also had very, very, very similar kind of like viewpoints, where Bitcoin is ultrasound money. There shouldn't be anything else on the Bitcoin network. I have very, very different viewpoint. I think if people find value in a pet rock and they can trade it in a self-custodial manner, well, guess what? You actually just develop new money. Like, you develop something of value that you can trade for other things, and it actually brings activity to the chain. It drives the cost for the block, and the cost for the block, even though I believe it should be very inexpensive, the validators and the block producers and the miners, they need to get paid to keep the chain secure and decentralized. And for that, there needs to be right incentives. And the incentives shouldn't come in a form of expensive blocks, but I think incentives should come in the form of many transactions on the chain, so that the chain is so popular that people who are running nodes and validators and block producers actually have plenty of yield to say that, yes, I spend $100 a month, but I'm making $1,000 a month in yield. So if that type of like ROI is not exciting, I don't know what else would be. I mean, certainly would be exciting to me. And so that is why I think X1 will wholeheartedly embrace inscription technology, will invite the digital content producers, which basically, people that produce, whether it's NFTs or whether it's a BRC style 20 tokens. Uh, Basically, we want our ecosystem to be very welcoming and vibrant with the inscription technology.
It'll probably be the first blockchain to like custom build anticipate inscriptions too. I bet you if Avalanche could go back in time, they would have done that instead of complain about it now.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, certainly I believe that to be the case. I always believed that the technology should move where the market is. The technology shouldn't develop its tech and then just say that, hey, markets, I have something juicy, you need to come over to me. I don't think that ever works. What always worked is when you build a product that people want to use. Like, specifically when I was at Google, Google's whole DNA was to build a search engine that's unencumbered by ads and unencumbered by being a portal. It was just a plain vanilla search that returned results. It was free, anybody could use it, and you get instant answers. And so Google really, I would say, pioneered or one of the companies that pioneered getting to where the market is, not necessarily generating demand from the market by enticing people with like the pumps and whatever, the TVL numbers and some other crazy metrics. I think the market has clearly voted with their money that inscriptions are important, and that's where we're going to be moving to.
Fuck
Hopefully,
yeah.
time for
Thank you, sir.
one
I
more.
have a question. I got a question about
Hang on.
the telecom communication. What's up?
Simple's got his hand up, brother.
I had my hand up too. My apology.
No, you go for it, Mass. I was just gonna ask about like the amount of like validators now, because my head was around the 10,000, 100,000 X and M, and I hit that just recently, so that was kind of cool. But I was just kind of thinking about just like how you're seeing this play out as far as like potential people like keeping their blocks or becoming a validator or staking their XN. How do you see it playing out and when it comes to that? And yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that.
Sure.
If you're
So,
talking about it.
so I always like to set kind of like serious and realistic goals, and I believe that we should hit Solana numbers. They have about maybe 3.5 to 4,000 validators running. If they could do it, I think we could definitely do it. And just looking at a couple of weeks of testnet running with validators onboarding process, we got to 400 in just 2 weeks. I think we can get to thousands within a couple of months once the mainnet is live. And like, guys, don't forget that the proof of work, the miners, we have like 2,000 miners actively mining. which actually means that it's like that many computers are out there that could become validators. That was actually one of the plans, is to get the hardware and operating system oriented folks into the chain, give them a lot of value, and have them support the chain by staking their XNM, staking their XN, generating good yield, and supporting the chain with the infrastructure that they would be running. So that was kind of like the plan for the mining. I mean, like once we saw that mining is really taking off with XNM, we immediately started to think like, okay, well, definitely if there's 2,000 miners, so like why couldn't they be nodes right away? So if we get them juicy yield with all of the other things that we're building, then we can hit Solana numbers within a year.
Well, yeah, that's definitely like an awesome aim, and yeah, I'm just excited to see how it's gonna play out. Go ahead, Mast. My bad.
Very good. Jack, I want you you got a concentration on like Solana, and I've seen you pull up like the Solana phones, and I've heard you like, I don't know if you were joking about like the phone situation, like a Zen phone. Are you actually thinking about creating a telecommunication part of Zen? And if so, like what would that look like? And just a brief, like if you're doing it, and what would it look like?
Yeah, so I'm very big fan of Solana's marketing prowess, like so to speak. Very impressed. Um, the Zen phone was a joke. It was actually not us that made that meme. It was someone else. That picture with Zen 2 was actually like AI generated, and I mean like the big part of it, like 70% of it is real. But what he's holding is not the phone; it's like something else. But people made it look like Zen phone. And it looks great. Um, I'm not actually certain at all that we're gonna go into the telecommunication part. However, there's many ways to validate the chain, and if we can get uh, either a phone or software on the phone that can participate in validation and get yield, I think that would be like one of the exciting things to do.
Right, and that's kind of what I was thinking. I wrote it in the group, like if we can get like like create a telecommunication part where we can get the phones to validate or be mini nodes that can help out the ecosystem. That I was thinking that same thing actually.
Yeah, I mean, like it's totally doable, because like if you ever go to the ZenBlocks group or the Validator knowledge group, you actually will see that a lot of people are running nodes on their phones, like right now. Like they're showing screenshots and like videos of stuff running on like Android devices, which is pretty epic, I would say. So there's definitely opportunity to get some sort of like lightweight validation done on people's phones. I think that market is pretty much untapped. Uh, I think Helium is doing something, but they're really doing something with the being a service provider. But I think as an end user, as a client, you could donate some of your like phone storage for maybe storing snapshot of the blockchain, maybe the blockchain state. It's actually not that much of data, or not that much data, and it could be sharded. Like for example, because inscriptions are a very very lightweight protocol, we could like build uh, a phone node software that actually stores inscriptions for other people and act as part of the consensus protocol.
That's what I'm that okay. So I'm just trying to get you to think about it. That's it. And like I said, I mean, basically, you thought it out, not about how I was thinking, but basically using them as many nodes, what you call it, and like the technical part. But as long as you're thinking about it, and if it is, and if like I said, if it is possible, like I said, I think that would be an untapped market where people can use their phones to validate, and people are on their phones like 24/7. So if you could come up with a system to do that, and people could use their phones and make yield and or etc. Like I think that would be like phenomenal for adoption, like really really good. So definitely put some more thought on it if you don't mind. Like I really would like to see that.
Okay, well, thanks for your question. It's a very very thought provoking idea, I would say. I'm really curious too.
Let's get
Appreciate
this
you, Jack.
odd touch first. Let's bring it back, old school.
Yo, Jack, last time you came in, you was in and out, and you mentioned you was talking to a AI company. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm still talking to them. In fact, we're having a meeting next week. Um, they're very interested in doing blockchain stuff, except that they're the PhDs in the AI and they don't really understand the ins and outs of the decentralized technology. So I think there could be some synergies with those guys. And so, like once we meet with them next week, we'll probably know more. But yeah, we've been communicating for like 6 or 7 months so far.
But please don't launch any EV car like Bitget price.
Okay.
I missed it, but sounded so good. Jack, I don't know how much more time you got, man, but
I'm getting cooked in this jacuzzi, so maybe a couple of more questions.
anybody have burning, non-trolling questions because he is with his son? So keep
My son is gone, so you can find some trolling questions if you want.
Okay.
Like I totally welcome the
Hit him
shoot.
Hey,
What's
Jack.
up with this ET stuff? What's up with this ET stuff? I feel like we've cornered him. Like I feel like it's Buck. We don't know if it's Buck, but it sounds like it's Buck. He's blocking people when we call him Buck. So,
Dude, so truth to be told, it is separate people. I'm pretty sure because I talk with them both on separate occasions. But I think what really got to ET is that I think Buck was annoying some Hexicans, and there was some sort of like pipe bomb threat. And because everybody now thinks that ET is Buck, he feels like his maybe life in danger, and that's why like he went off Twitter for like 24 hours. But like I certainly don't know what's up with this dude. Like 1 second he says like he's like the biggest Zen whale. The next thing he says he's gonna dump it all. I think. I mean, like I'm not. I really hate like bad mouthing people, but I think like the only explanation that I may have is that because like if his Zen mint or whatever amount is true, he's definitely been interested in Zen at some point, right? And he is positioning as if he's like trolling Zen and trolling Zenians too, that like he's gonna dump Zen. Maybe he is like testing his capability of controlling the price, so that's like if he scares enough people, the price drops and he ends up picking up like another $500,000 or whatever worth of Zen, and like, you know, that sort of thing. Like if a whale was belligerent and attempted to control the price, that's how a whale would behave. Is like would try to agitate people into reacting and like maybe dumping Zen, maybe rallying behind Zen. But either way, if it's true and he's a whale, then obviously I don't think he wants to give up being a whale, and so it only makes sense for him to pick up more Zen cheaper.
Yeah, well games for sure.
He's not Buck.
Being an investor, many people want to know when the bottom will be reached. We have been searching for the bottom for a long time now,
6
and
zeros.
it's continuing.
Sue
Dude,
me if it goes lower.
so the bottom, when Zen launched, it was effectively worth $0. Like I think people think that was like maybe 10 cents or whatever the number of cents was, but it was really zero because it was like a project that didn't exist. Within 24 hours, it established some sort of a market value. But if you think about it, the valuation of Zen back then, the market cap, was not even close to what it is today. It was like maybe like a few $1 million, and now we're at 20 million, which is like really pretty low in my opinion, based on the number of wallets that actually holding Zen. And so I think in terms of the economics and the distribution, the cheaper
Mhm.
Zen is, the more people can afford to buy it, and the more it can spread to people's
Yeah.
wallets, and
Yes.
it actually grows our community. Like if we get million wallets like within like several years, uh, basically it's like a loaded spring, right? Like if something interesting happens within the ecosystem and everybody holds in, well, guess what? Everybody wins. And so I think it's important to realize that generally, if any sort of a pump does happen, that it's kind of like pricing people out a little bit. And I think if anybody like a whale or dolphin or whatever, a turtle, ends up selling a bunch of them, well, guess what? Like the buyers are actually not a single person. It's maybe like 100 people, maybe 50 people, but definitely every time a large chunk of them gets sold, other people get to load their wallets, and we get like we get the Zenian army increased by like several percentage points like every time the sale happens. So if ET does unload his whatever the trillion Zen that he has, I mean, like, I'm certainly for it because it's gonna go to like thousands of people that have their limit orders set. So by all means, like that like really should happen, because I believe that the value really comes from the community, not from the whales that end up manipulating the price. And so we need more people to hold them.
Hold on.
And what about burn mechanism?
Hang on. We're gonna move around here. Goonan, you said it's not Buck. Who is it? Tell us.
You'll never find out.
It's you?
No, bro. Hey, Jack, it's good hearing you, man. Haven't heard from you in a minute. How's your dog been?
Which one? I have three.
The one that you found like that, like probably like last couple years ago, the one you
Yeah, yeah,
recently
yeah.
found.
It was like literally a year ago. Well, that dog is 1 year old, and it's in what they call the dragon mode. It is so fast. It is absolutely insane dog. Loves the family. Always very happy to see you. Very energetic. Giving the other dogs, run around, which is actually awesome, because they get to exercise. So yeah, like it's doing well. I'm gonna post a picture once I find a good one.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I hear him. Hey, Jack, I say you should do some more live video streams, man. Just knowing how the market is right nowadays, I think it'd be good if you just show your face once in a while, you know what I mean? Other than doing these spaces.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. And now that this sort of like mini crisis is over and we got the chain back on, I think I can afford a little bit more time to take some questions from the community with the videos and stuff. Uh, but like again, we're really like focused on uh, we're focused on the development, and I'm one of the developers. So it's not like I'm sitting around and telling people what to do. Like I actually actively help. And if you look at the code base for X1, you can see like crap load of commits that I'm doing. So like if you can see that there's all kinds of experiments we're running. And so yeah, but yeah, I'll definitely find the time to do a video.
Gucci suit, YouTube. Let's go. Dest, what's
Yeah.
up?
Hey, all good, Jack. Nice to hear your voice again. It's been a while, but we're always here holding it down, even though we go elsewhere to find some money while we wait for Zen to mature. But I just have a quick question. Mostly like somebody like me, I'm mostly on ETH. Well, almost 100% my Zen is on ETH. So I heard about changes that Ethereum is gonna be making, like, based on gas. I'm just wanna hear your opinion. How badly is it gonna affect us that are already, minted on Zen and keeps minting?
Okay, good question. I'm gonna take this as the last question, just a warning. But so here's the what Ethereum is doing. So originally, Vitalik thought that they're gonna do sharding, which should make Ethereum cheaper, and the proof of stake was the process to get there. But within the last 12 months, they pivoted into what they call proto-dank sharding. And proto-dank is actually, there's this like one dude proto and the other guy dank. You can actually find their names in their paper. So what they proposed reduction in the roll-up cost of call data. Call data is a piece of memory that every block has on Ethereum to actually accelerate adoption of layer 2 blockchains. And so the proto-dank sharding, that's what they call it, is not the base layer Ethereum gas reduction protocol. It is a gas reduction protocol for optimism, for Arbitrum, and for Polygon. So any chain that's layer 2 for Ethereum, even though Polygon is more of a side chain, that is where the gas savings will be realized. It's not on the Ethereum base layer at all. And like if you look at what Vitalik's roadmap is, you actually see that most of the Ethereum EIP improvements is in relation to cold data costs, which has nothing to do with like even a transfer of Ethereum between the users or Zen mints or Zen claims. So I don't think Ethereum is going to see a reduction in fees unless the TVL leaves Ethereum for some other chains like Solana or whatever, X1 or Sui or any other newcomers like Celestia, who knows, right? But if that happens, it's actually not anything that's happening technologically for the Ethereum. It's more like the market is moving the dollars and the assets somewhere where they're treated best. And so that's kind of like what I see for Ethereum. I think the high gas prices are here to stay. As the bull cycle unwinds or increases in its strength, we're likely going to see higher gas prices, not lower.
That's good news for our Zen mints, boys.
Yeah, well, it's certainly going to make them. Overall, the gas price keeps Zen more scarce because, like, if you think about it, the cheapest chains out there, like Phantom, Polygon, Avalanche, the Zen's market cap is not even close to Ethereum. So Ethereum happens to have the most challenging environment for Zen that actually makes Zen more scarce, which is great because it makes Zen hold its value more. So that's what I believe, and that's what the data suggests. All right, guys, I'm gonna switch off. Please talk among yourselves, and I'll see you guys sometime next week.